Hey guys, it's your favorite raccoon with a shitload of hair, Sleechy Meechy, coming on through with the brand new video. And I have to be bluntly honest with all of you guys. So when I saw this article on Event Hubs, and I'm just gonna say right now, all the articles today are from Event Hubs. I'm not gonna lie, I was gonna cover crypto, but then I was like in the middle of editing the video, and then I just said no, I don't want to fucking do crypto shit. So fuck that. Fortnite, Minecraft, Warzone, Street Fighter 5, kind of, Among Us. What do all those games have in common? Well, they have fucking crossplay, which funny enough, not all fighting games have. But yeah, looking at the article right here, Sony at one point appeared to be ahead of the curve with their cross-platform play initiative between PlayStation 3 and PC on games like Final Fantasy XIV and Portal 2, followed by Street Fighter 5 on PlayStation 4, but that certainly changed when other consoles started getting into the mix. So funny enough, I actually didn't even own a PS3, I only had friends who had PS3s, I had an Xbox. Yeah, I was the kid in the MW2 lobby that every adult would just yell at, point, laugh, kill, and just call fag. Speaking to Axios, PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan says that they support and encourage crossplay and that the number would continue to grow, while naming off support for large titles like Fortnite, Rocket League, Call of Duty, and Minecraft. But the whole reason why this is even being brought up is because Borderlands 3 came out last year, and Randy Pitchford of Gearbox Games, he wanted to, add full crossplay across every console, PC, Xbox, PS4, PS5, my fucking LG fridge, because Sony has certain requirements and certain things you have to do in order to get crossplay on a PlayStation. It just ends up being kind of a deficit on the developer's part, because basically what you have to do is get on your hands and knees and take it up the ass by Sony as they take small amounts of money out of you just to have crossplay on your game. And the whole reason why we even know about this whole policy in the first place is because the whole Apple versus Epic Games lawsuit. When Epic just kind of said no to Apple's App Store rules and just kind of... I can't believe they fucking did this too. Tim Sweeney has some big fucking balls, I'll give him that. So what they did is that whenever you buy shit on the Apple App Store, Apple takes like a cut out of it, right? And Apple took a pretty big chunk, or what Epic considered a pretty big chunk, out of their pockets. So what Epic did is that when you played Fortnite, they had two options in the store on the mobile version. You could either pay more and directly use the Apple App Store, or pay less and pay Epic Games directly, which I thought was a pretty funny workaround, I'm not gonna lie. They're pretty smart. Apple got pretty mad at that, they took Fortnite off the App Store, and then right at the same time, like as if it was almost planned, they released an animated short called 1980 Fortnite, where it basically depicted one of Apple's old commercials where they mocked IBM, but Epic Games switched around the characters, where Epic Games was in Apple's place and Apple is now taking the place of IBM. It was actually a pretty cool commercial in its own right. I had to study the art direction of it for my film study class, but the fact that we only found out about all this shit because of a lawsuit, Sony kind of wanted to cover up all of the stuff that happened, and so did Nintendo, and so did Microsoft, because Epic Games, kind of like a bitchy ex-girlfriend, just aired out all of their dirty laundry in the middle of the courtroom. It's kind of like when your ex gets all of her friends together, makes a group chat specifically to make fun of you, just sends your micro But yeah, kind of my end thoughts on this whole thing. Crossplay should just kind of be a general thing in gaming, and the whole reason to buy a separate console should just be the exclusives of a game, or just the features of a console itself, or whatever else they can do to diversify the console, maybe make it cheaper. Hint hint, wink wink, please give me a PlayStation 5, holy fucking shit. Next up in the news, we have Guilty Gear Strive breaking record numbers all around the board. If you don't know, Guilty Gear Strive is the newest one. As far as I can see, it's pretty fucking cool. I really haven't gotten the chance to play around with it, sadly, because I'm a broke ass bitch. Wait a minute, I should probably point this out before I go any further with the video, because I really wanted to use Tekken 7 footage for this video. I'm gonna be real honest with you. Everybody I got paired with online just disconnected immediately, and I just couldn't get a fucking match in. So why don't we move on to the article, shall we? In only 3 days of its launch, Guilty Gear Strive reached over 300,000 copies shipped and sold, and that impressive impressive start is at least partly in thanks to the game's surprising performance on Steam. And if you're curious, according to the Steam charts right now, Guilty Gear Strive daily gets about 31,000 players. The only game actually having more players at one time is Dragon Ball FighterZ, which is actually fucking astonishing. I guess I just don't have many players in my region, because I swear to God, every time I try to fucking play, it takes like 10 goddamn minutes just to find one match. Just a little bit lower at 27,000, you have Mortal Kombat 11. Just barely under 20,000, you have Tekken 7. Just under 15,000 with Soul Calibur 6. Also under 15,000, you have Street Fighter 5, Mortal Kombat X, and just barely breaking 10,000, you have Injustice Gods Among Us Ultimate Edition. Which, wait, people still play that game? I got that shit for free. I thought nobody fucking played it. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm really happy for Guilty Gear Strive and Arc System for making a pretty good game that was accordingly accessible to like every skill level. I don't know, I haven't touched it yet. I haven't really gotten my hands all up in that shit. I haven't really gotten my slimy Cheeto dust infested hands inside of May yet, so when I do, I'll let you guys know. And a little bit of quick news here, I wanted to kind of talk about Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and not because that game was an absolute failure and just didn't live up to the hype. No, it's because Street Fighter Cross Tekken was meant to have another crossover to go alongside it called Tekken Cross Street Fighter, which was the same concept except different game engine. Instead of the Tekken characters being thrown in a 2D environment, it would be the Street Fighter characters being thrown in a 3D environment. And on the latest episode of Harada's Bar, he was talking about how Tekken Cross Street Fighter, sorry, not Street Fighter Cross Tekken, but Tekken Cross Street Fighter was about 30% done until they had to scrap it, and this announcement only came out, 11 years in technical development. Because the game was actually never canceled in an official capacity, nobody knew if they were actually going to complete it. And since we already had Akuma in Tekken 7, most people were just assuming that was the most Street Fighter they would ever get in a Tekken game, so. And they even touch upon this in there. And because Capcom is still a little bit iffy on them showing off the prototype stuff from Tekken Cross Street Fighter, they still need permission directly from Capcom to show off the prototype, so they didn't show off any of that there. If translations are to be believed, it's actually possible that Tekken 7 Akuma's model is actually just based off of Tekken Cross Street Fighters, and this all kinda stemming from just one quote from Harada, saying, "You can see Akuma's model, it's pretty cool. Yeah, development stopped, but we got 30% done. We even had motions, which you can see reflected in Akuma. The developing experience was useful and we wanted to show it, but the project died." But yeah guys, just to kind of wrap up that story, I really do feel bad that Tekken Cross Street Fighter got cancelled, because I would have really loved to see how certain Street Fighter characters would have worked in the Tekken style. Mainly characters like Necro, Blanca, Makoto, and also characters like Balrog and Dudley that exclusively use like 6 buttons and are like all sort of important. And would that be like translated into Tekken where it would be like a different input for all of them? Or actually, would it be like Steve and they would just use 2 buttons? That would be really fucking weird, but really cool at the same time. And remember how earlier I mentioned something about accessibility? Well yeah, that was kind of foreshadowing, because our final story here, Dan Forens, my bad, I love you, okay? But yeah, Dan Forens, the creator of Rival of Aether. A couple of days ago, Dan Forens was on Twitter just absolutely slamming Arc System, Capcom, NetherRealm Studios, Nintendo, every big fighting game developer out there, And he was kind of going after them because they just kind of have over-aggressive ways of adding accessibility into their games, but without actually making their games more accessible to new players. More or less just adding more ways for a pro player to kick a newbie's ass and to make it look cool, and then make the newbie not want to play the game anymore, make him put down the controller, refund the game, go back to playing COD or whatever. So Dan Forens tweets, "After 8 years of working in fighting games, I've accepted the fact that no matter how easy you make your game, pros will absolutely demolish new players. During my time on Rivals, I learned that you don't need to ask how to make things easier for new players. Instead, focus on making the most basic actions feel good and each thing they feel even cooler." So yeah, no, this is kind of basic shit when it comes to other game design, whenever you play Fortnite, for example. Fortnite tends to toss you into a bot lobby so you're not being thrown into straight up sweat lobbies, which is a good way to add accessibility to a game because it reduces luck. Funny enough, it actually reduces luck. It reduces how many players are actually in the game itself, therefore increasing your own chances of winning, because if you've ever fought a bot in Fortnite, it's actually very easy to spot one out, you know? It's very easy to see a bot pop its head off, get whatever gold and band-aids was from it. But games like Smash Bros. Ultimate, Mortal Kombat 11, Street Fighter 5, they either make their offense super crazy and, you know, flashy and cool, or they dumb down their more hardcore mechanics in order to quote-unquote even out the playing field. But that's where Dan kind of continues on to say, not everyone will learn how deep your systems go, just like not everyone will play past the first zone in a single player game, but focus on making the game fun for them even if they just scratch the surface. Many of the simplifications that devs have tried over the last 10 years end up usually being used by pros to make strong characters more reliable, while not helping new players figure out why they lose neutral over and over and over. This, yeah, I have to agree, one big example would have to be input buffers in Smash Bros. In older Smash Bros. Games, I believe this happened up until Smash Bros. Brawl, but this is probably like only 64 in Melee. In 64 in Melee, and possibly Brawl, I don't remember off the top of my head, if you didn't hit a button on the exact same frame it was meant to be hit on, you either didn't get an input at all, or you weren't having frame perfect inputs, and that was really important for high level gameplay, having several frame perfect inputs. You know, in Street Fighter 4 you had the one frame links with Evil Ryu and all that fun stuff, but input buffers kind of make it way easier to kind of input hard combos by adding in extra frames that you can actually almost misinput the move but still get the move outputted. Another thing that I want to point out is with Tekken, I actually abuse this quite often. It's just the auto combo. You see this in the tips every so often. If you're playing on a controller, which Tekken already assumes that you are, if you hold a right bumper then press X, Y, and A, you just automatically do a combo based around whatever character you're playing as, which is a good way to bounce the game, but I don't think it actually teaches the player any which way to play the game other than to spam the 4 moves you give them like it's a Smash game. But the final 2 tweets from Dan Forens read as such: and difficulty does affect balance. Devs including me have passed on designs saying, well, pro players will do that 100% of the time, but in the pressure of competition, can any human hit 100%? Fox would be insane if a machine was playing him. Nowadays I work to make my games accessible, but accessibility to me is something that doesn't destroy my hands and feels as intuitive as possible. It's not about purposely making things easier to draw in players who haven't been interested in the genre before. Oh my fucking god, yes. Okay, so another personal story here. I tried to get a personal friend of mine who I don't really talk to anymore, sadly, but I tried to get a friend of mine into Street Fighter 5, and I just kind of wanted to see what he did when he got to the tutorial, because in Street Fighter 5 they have an annoying ass tutorial that you just have to go through even if you already know how to play a Street Fighter game. But since he hadn't played a Street Fighter game in a while, I was like, you know what, maybe he might need it. I watched this motherfucker try to do a Hadoken for 5 goddamn minutes straight. He just couldn't grasp the concept of a quarter circle input on a controller. I tried physically doing it in front of him and he just still couldn't get it. I don't know what it was, but I just said do a 360 no scope snipe in Call of Duty, but do it on the opposite stick, I guess. And that's literally how he was able to throw his only Hadoken. And then a whole new nightmare came up when he was asked to do a throw. When you do a throw in Street Fighter 5, it's like what? Circle and triangle at the same time on a PlayStation controller. Once again, could not grasp the concept of just hitting 2 buttons simultaneously. It's obviously not making the game more accessible and easier to do. Sometimes it's just literally explaining the very basics on how to play the game because some people are new to the genre. But yeah, that kind of wraps up my thoughts on everything here. I hope everybody enjoyed watching this video today. I've been Sleechy Meechy. I'm extremely tired and I'm gonna go to fuck to sleep.